everybody, welcome back to Kruse Control. It is Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. Welcome to Kruse Control, the home of entertainment news. I am your host, as always, Brian Kruse. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Hump Day. I know it's been a long time, but we're back again, broadcasting from Manistee, Michigan, which is, if you wonder where that's at, if I pull up a Michigan map, it's about right here. So if you don't know that, that's where we're at right now. So broadcasting out of a remote location. Not going to tell you where that's at besides Manistee, Michigan. But as always, we're back here talking about a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of big things. Of course, talking about that SAG strike today. And we're going to talk about, of course, other entertainment news, because it's not just all about the SAG strike, but it's a lot about that SAG strike because a lot has happened. And joining us back here tonight for the umpteenth million time, my lovely co-host, Miss Sabrina Vittori. Sabrina, welcome back to the program. How you doing tonight?
Great. How are you?
Good. How's your hump day?
It was good. I had some technical difficulties, so it's my fault that we're late, and I apologize for that. But we're ready to go now.
Don't tell GR that. Do not tell GR that. He'll take that fuel. He'll run with it.
Sorry, it's my fault. I had to restart my computer and re-sign into everything, which is not a strong suit of mine. So I'm sorry, but we're here.
We're here. It's hump day. We're back again. And it's a lovely hump day as always. And it wouldn't be a hump day unless we had the touchy ghost himself, the man who floats away into the distance and he creeps in your bedrooms when you're sleeping at night. Your
Don't
bedroom.
That is very creepy and weird.
Creeps
Don't
around.
say that.
Bill, you're about to introduce Bill Cosby? Do we have a secret guest?
Bill Cosby himself. No, Mike Casey's back, everybody.
I don't like that intro. Hi guys, happy hump day. Sabrina, you can't take credit for technical difficulties. Those are wire gremlins. Those are billionaires that benefit on the weeping of children in the orphanage. That has nothing to do with you. We're happy you're here. Happy humpy, everybody. Happy humpy.
Humping up, hump.
Hi, GR.
Hey,
GR makes a difference. He just called me a rookie and said I suck. So I feel like it's kind of my fault.
That's kind of GR's mojo, if you haven't noticed.
True, very true.
Technology, it really is. We're going to be talking about a lot of technology today because that's a big subject today on Kruse Control. But yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens all the time. We're still growing. And, the internet hates us sometimes, hates everybody sometimes. I don't know why I have like Mike saying those little gremlins. He just turn them sideways and shove up someone's candy ass because they're all like little bitches. That's all they are.
Okay.
They're bitches. They're bitches. And, and that's just what it is. But thank you both for being here tonight. Happy hump day from wherever we're at in the world. We love you. You're amazing. And as always, now it's time for some breaking news. Get it. All right, everybody, the very first thing that I want to dive right into tonight is a little bit about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, you're wondering, what about this? Well, we finally have a digital release for this because it was in theaters and, it's finally going to come to streaming. But where's it going to come to streaming? Where are you going to be able to see it, okay? It came out June 2nd. Now they're going to make it made $663.5 million. And now you can pre-order on Amazon Prime. And it's going to be when? Tuesday, August 8th. Okay, now that's just digital that way right now. And then the Blu-rays and all the digital media, the physical media, if you're still that person that loves that and wants to have that physical form in your hand, they haven't exactly announced a release date for that, but it's expected to be a couple weeks after the fact. And then for digital, for your actual streaming services, where's it going first? Well, it's going to Netflix first because Sony Pictures signed a deal with Netflix that happened back in 2022 that gave them what they call the first period method. And that means that the first time you get to see it, if it's not in the theater, it's going to be on Netflix, that first period. And that's going to go down. And it's probably going to be it's going to be some time before you get to see it. They're saying about September 30th, it'll be on there. And then it'll be there for 18 months before it has a chance to go to Disney Plus. So probably February 2025, around that time. There's no specific release date yet. You'll have that on Disney Plus. So if you're waiting for Disney Plus, don't hold your breath. It's going to be a hot minute. So it's going to be on Netflix first, and then Disney Plus. But that's right, Across the Spider-Verse is coming. And that's not the only Spider-Man news I have to tell you tonight, because I've been wondering about this too. When is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 going to be on Disney Plus? Because they had a whole release. They released Amazing Spider-Man, all of Tobey Maguire's. They released Venom 1, but not Venom 2 yet. And everyone's like, what? Where's Amazing Spider-Man 2? Because Amazing Spider-Man is on there. Well, you're finally going to get that because Disney finally made an announcement about this, and it's coming when? August 11th. August 11th, you'll get to see Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, if you're so excited to see Paul Giamatti in that rhino costume, well, it's coming, everybody, because I know you're probably by yourself out there. There's only a few people that want to see that. But
Happy hump day indeed.
Happy hump day to the rhino. And they've been saying that for like, oh, it's coming. And I'm surprised they didn't have it come out at the same time of everything else. But again, these things have been tied up all over the place because Sony made all these back-end deals with every distribution company besides Disney before they worked their deal out to get Spider-Man, everywhere. So finally going to be coming to Disney Plus, but you got to wait a little bit of time. Not much longer, though. It's coming soon. But speaking of Spider-Man, I want to get into one thing that's really on the top of my head today. That's Tom Holland. So Tom Holland recently said in an interview, he was with Jay Shetty recently, which Jay Shetty, he does all these motivational kind of like sits down, breaks down your life, tells you how to deal with things, helps you out. It's like a big podcast that he's had for a long time. So it only makes sense that Tom Holland's on there talking about his alcohol problems. So Tom Holland was on there saying like he was, an alcoholic. Hollywood led him to that. He hasn't been doing well. He finally cut the drugs, he said drugs, but it was alcohol. Who knows what else? Maybe there's something else, but we can't speculate. We can speculate, but we shouldn't speculate. Allegedly it's alcohol. But he said, look, he's like, I'm a massive fan of making movies, but I really do not like Hollywood. It's not for me, he said. But you're Spider-Man, and it made your career. And he's like, it's not for me. I get being run down by it. That's what he was saying, too. I'm always looking for some kind of way to remove myself from it, he says, because he wasn't going to lose who he really is, which I said when I moved to Hollywood was a big thing. I told Mike, Mike, if I lose who I am, you know where I am. He said, I will crawl into your window and I will slowly beat you until you come back to being Brian, who you were before. And I said, go ahead, man, go ahead. But Tom Holland doesn't have a friend like Mr. Mike Casey, touchy ghost over here. So, he says he hates Hollywood. And at 27 years old, I mean, maybe it's the fame, maybe it's like he can't go out in public, but I mean, I'll take those problems any day, right? I don't know. Sabrina, what do you think? Do you think this is a big deal? Do you think he's just run down from everything? Or do you think that, he's being a little bitch about like hating Hollywood? He shouldn't hate Hollywood, I don't think. It's just weird to me.
I don't know that he necessarily hates Hollywood, but I think he hates like the politics of Hollywood and like the things that happen and go along with being an extremely popular actor in Hollywood. Like I don't think he's necessarily I think he's grateful for what he's done and what he's been able to do because this is his chosen profession. I think that maybe he did use alcohol to cope with the stress and the issues that he had with it, and maybe now that he's sober, which he's been for a little over a year, he sees things in a different light. Maybe he saw that it was easier to fit in and deal with all the bullshit if he was constantly drinking. And like now that he has a different,
perspective on
view on things, maybe it's a little bit different for him. And he's been acting since he was 9 years old. I mean, I understand being a little bit fatigued, especially after the whole crowded room thing, which first of all, wasn't received very well, which is unfortunate because I haven't watched it, so I can't say, but it does really look like he, really put in a extremely like awesome performance. Like it really, like the little bit that I've seen of it, it seems like he did a really good job. He himself. I just, he was a producer on that. It was taking up a lot of his time. I think that he is just fatigued at the moment. Sobriety is maybe showing him things in a different light, and he he doesn't want to fall into, he said he lost friends because of like the Hollywood thing, and like people change, and I don't think he wants to fall into that. Like I don't think he's I respect what he's saying, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I get it. It's tough, and we've all said that too before you come to Hollywood. It's a tough job, and that's a lot of stuff that's happening right now with the writers and the actors being on strike too, because it's not easy, and you lose a lot of yourself. You lose the time, and people lose relationships. A lot of divorces in Hollywood too, based off everything that's been, the hours and the commitment and the time away and the traveling and the no turnaround, the no weekends. So I get it, and but it's also like a weird thing to say. I think maybe he's probably got his foot in his mouth, but Tom Holland does that a lot too. Like he always spoils stuff all the time too. So, but I feel you, Spiderman. I think you're right. I think it's just tough, and he's been doing it for a long time. He said he wanted a break from that for a while too, and he really hasn't been able to take one because he's so on demand, or so in demand, I should say. But Mike, what do you think? Do you think that this means anything? Do you think he's just spitting this, or do you think that he really is sick of Hollywood and his career might end shorter than we expect because, he feels this way.
Number one, man, if he's got a year of sobriety under his belt, good for you, dog. I hope that keeps working for you and your whole life just continues to blossom. Losing friends, like, I don't know if that's strictly a Hollywood thing or I don't know if that's a getting sober thing. I know he's not alone. There's a lot of 27-year-olds and older, like through the whole spectrum, like you're going to be finding people that have affinities with you and non-affinities with you. You're going to need to be cutting toxic people out of your life and bringing in people that give you that energy. A lot of what he's saying, I don't know is specific to. Yeah, thanks, GR. Work politics can be a true bitch. Like, I don't know that everything is necessarily specific to the Hollywood industry. Like, I think that criticisms of the business getting away of the thing that you're trying to accomplish is not specific to Hollywood. Although certainly, I'm not saying that it's not a different reality that he's in. We can consider him a child actor as it is, right? Pretty much, like,
yeah.
And he seems like a good guy, and you made a good point, Brian. Like, prone to putting his foot in his mouth, maybe a little bit in a very endearing way. I think we can all agree, right?
I agree. And he is a really good person. And from what I've heard and seen, it seems like he really does care about Hollywood. It's just, maybe it's been tough for him recently. And again, he's worn down in that crowded room. He put a lot of effort into that too. That was a big deal. He talked about how beat down he was during that and how hard it was for him. So maybe it's just something that came down to like just the workload, he's exhausted and that's like, then things come out when you're exhausted like this. You get frustrated and you just, you spit things out, and he does spit things out of his mouth sometimes.
That was another thing that I was going to say. If you can pardon my interruption, Brian. I think
get in there, Mike.
The new podcast medium, like I think we're really expecting more out of our celebrities than we did even 10 years ago, but certainly much more than in the past. Like you can't just be this figurine, this Barbie like figure, even that's being disassembled for us. But we expect people to have some depth and openness and communicate, because I think that as a culture, those are the values that we're kind of learning that we really need in whatever the current climate is. Speaking of the Kermit climate, no, just I think that as a medium is that's what we want. We want you to put your foot in your mouth. We want you to be a little bit less guarded.
It's fun.
So whatever. Like, you say you hate something, I don't know that that's his forever opinion, right? Like, he had a feeling.
Yeah.
Like, so good on him for sharing it.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, honestly, it's like, we feel it for you, Tom. We love you as Spider-Man. Keep it going. Get your mental health together. Stop the booze, because apparently you can't handle it.
He's a year out.
Good if you're getting
a year out. He did it, man.
He did it. Yeah, I'm just saying. He's good. He's good. He's made it through. But like, stay off the booze. I should probably say, stay off the booze.
He also said, like, very specifically that, like, he had no idea that he had a problem with alcohol, and he, like, wasn't drinking for, like, I don't know, some reason, like maybe dry January. He did dry January, and then after doing dry January, like, he was like, he realized like how torturous it was, and he was like looking at the clock and like being like, oh my god. So then he decided like that maybe he did have a problem with alcohol, and so he extended it to February. And then he was like, oh well, let's just extend it to my birthday, and if I can make it by my birthday, or to my birthday, then I know I don't have a problem, which was in June. And so then he said by his birthday, which was in June, that he felt the best that he had in his life, and like things that would set him off on set, normally didn't anymore. And like, he just felt like a better, happier person. And like, I mean, at that age, to be like, in a situation where you are having an issue like that and don't even realize, like, it's good that he knows, and that he, is, found it so young, or realized so young. And like, I'm sure he can have a much more, productive and, happy life, and maybe he can enjoy alcohol, in moderation at some point. Again, I don't know, but, he didn't know that there was an issue. he figured it out and like remedied it, and he said he's been happier than he ever is. So bravo to you, man. Honestly,
it's fantastic.
If his withdrawal effects were that serious when he started dry January,
right?
That's a lot, especially for somebody that young.
I did dry January, and I could care less. Like I was like, whatever. There were like maybe 2 nights that I was like, I wish I could have a drink in the 30 days. You know what I mean? Like it didn't really bother me, which is. I think
there's a lot of drinking culture issues. Like it's probably crazy in LA, especially if you're big part of your job is going out, shaking hands and having discussion with people, socializing. Yeah. But also like if he really didn't see this creeping up on him, we have to imagine like just great. The UK like in general probably also has like pretty intense drinking culture. Like I live in Wisconsin right now. Like it's challenging to go out and spend time with friends and stuff and not just have the whole situation be blanketed in alcohol. Brian's in Michigan, like any place that it snows, that doesn't
people
have
drink,
a lot.
It's hard not to. It's hard.
That's not like Denver, like that. You don't have other activities that get you outside. Yeah.
Not in Michigan. There's like nothing like that. Really, there's only like a select few things you can do. But somebody else that's gone through a lot of trouble and triumphed through and made his way through is Frankie Muniz. But Frankie Muniz went through a lot of shit as a child actor too and had to step away. I want to talk about Malcolm in the Middle because it might come back. I don't know if that's going to haunt him or not, but hopefully he comes back to it. But apparently they're working on a Malcolm in the Middle reboot. A Malcolm in the Middle reboot. Can I say that again? A Malcolm in the Middle reboot is coming. That's what Bryan Cranston said because he was doing another interview. He was doing an interview at British GQ, and the question came up about Malcolm in the Middle. Of course, it was a big show for Bryan Cranston. It actually had 151 episodes, started in January 9th of 2000, went 7 seasons, huge show. But he was talking about this, and they asked him, he was asked straight up, are they going to do more Malcolm in the Middle? He said, you know what? We're talking about it. We're talking about it for some sort of return to happen. He's not sure what kind of format, if he's going to be a reunion or a reboot. He's not really sure what that's going to entail yet, but it's going to happen. And the possibilities are out there because the whole cast wants to do what he says. Who in the world
was asking about Malcolm in the Middle? Like who?
He says,
who asked
I don't know.
That question?
He says it's something important to him and substantial, so he'll see because he really loves the whole cast.
I have an answer to this.
It's been 20 years. And he says it's happening. He's saying that's the idea. Mike, who do you think wants to see a Malcolm in the Middle reboot 20 years later? Do we need this?
Do we need this? Who is to say? You're the Always Sunny cast member, Sabrina. Did you see the recent episode a couple of weeks ago that where he and I want to say Jesse Pinkman because I can't. Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul.
Okay, yeah. First try. It was basically just a commercial. I don't know if it was completely underwritten by their tequila company or whatever, Dos Hombres.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Dos Hombres is.
Yeah. What other reason do we need? Yeah. He wants visibility. So he's going. I don't.
You're saying that Aaron Paul is asking if he's going to do more Malcolm in the Middle, as if Bryan Cranston is not one of the most talented and celebrated actors of all time.
I'm saying we are goldfish in the pond, Sabrina, and he's just dribbling out little flakes at us because he wants us to keep coming to the surface. And one of those times when we come to the surface, we're going to be asking, hey, can we get a little bit of your tequila or whatever fucking brand of liquor you're hawking?
I mean,
say it this way.
We also did an episode.
Chris Binkle says no.
Not on it, but we did an episode where Bryan Cranston said that soon, and I can't remember now the logistics of how much time before he turns 70, that he'll be taking a step away from acting, and he will get rid of half of his shares of the Dos Hombres company and dissolve his production company and just chillax for a minute so he can spend time with his wife. So I'm very confused how a reboot of Malcolm in the Middle amidst a writers and actors strike fits into this program. I'm just very confused. I don't really get it.
We're talking about him.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We're talking both instances, though. It's just a thing about Bryan Cranston, and the only thing that he really has going on right now that I'm aware of is his. Maybe I'm just cynical. Maybe I think that
No, he just
Maybe I think everything.
on something. Your Honor.
A lot of booze.
Your Honor show just came on. Like.
Oh, right.
Is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
Your Honor?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah, Your
watched
Honor.
it.
It's called Your Honor. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but like that's like fairly. I mean, the man has been working. He has been working.
Yeah,
that's true. The Kermit climate has him working a lot.
The Kermit climate.
That's true. I hadn't considered
really
the Kermit
quite
climate.
too.
What about the Fozzie
It's really
climate?
quite.
I want to know about that, or the Gonzo climate. How's that going?
the Miss Piggy climate is where I'm at these days.
I didn't ask about her. She's a wild card.
I gotta tell you, the Miss Piggy climate is not helping out Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones because it has not made money yet. It has not made money. I'm just saying, there's no climate that's good for Indiana Jones right now. Even though I will still say this is a great movie. I saw it. I'm gonna tell you, you gotta see it. It's action-packed. It's fun. It's exciting. And Harrison Ford kicks ass in this. And the CG is actually really good. It's the best I've ever seen de-aging somebody I've ever seen the whole time. So good on that. It means amazing. But it's finally surpassed its production budget. So the production budget was $295 million, Mike. Remember we talked about this before? $295 million. Well, they made $302 million on this so far. So they passed that the past day, but still they have like millions of dollars in actual advertising and, and marketing. So the thing is, like, it's still not making the money that it should be. I don't think. I mean, of course, Crystal Skull made a lot of money, made like almost $500 million. I don't think it's going to make that. I think it's going to lose money, and it's very unfortunate. It's in theaters right now, so if you haven't seen it, go to see it. Came out June 30th, and again, it's one of those movies that when I saw it, I was expecting like a hot pile of trash in a way, because people are trashing it so much. I see how they did reshoots at the ending. I will say I think they did it for the right reasons because it was a great ending. It was fun. It's action-packed, though. It's so good. It's bam, 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 bam. And Harrison Ford looks great in it. He kicks ass. And I got to tell you, the only thing about the de-aging thing is you get older, you get a little thicker, And I think, like, that's the only thing. Like, he wasn't as thick when he was, like, that young. But honestly, when he they have, like, a mask. He takes the mask off, and I'm like, oh, man, he looks good. And honestly, the whole cast is great. Shia LaBeouf gets killed off like just like that. Like, they don't even talk about he's dead because he was such a bad, the fans hated him. Like, yeah, I love the new Indy. Yeah, Brie, I loved it. It was so good. It was a lot of fun. And I feel bad for Harrison because it's his last one, hanging the hat up. He says he's doing a TV series after this too. They haven't announced who's going to be casting that besides the fact that Harrison and the whole crew said, they're not coming back for this. It's a whole new different thing. So that's unfortunate. I think he's great in this role. 80 years old, it's harder and harder to do this. But I got to tell you, James Mangold killed it as director. I think, they've been getting shit online, but for me, I think he killed it. He did, of course, Logan, which was a great movie for the X-Men.
Great movie.
And I just think he's a great director overall, and I was really excited that this was so good. Action-packed. I don't know if either of you saw it yet, but, like, what do you think about this? Do you think this movie should have made money? What do you think, Sabrina? Do you think it's a shame? Or what do you think? Do you think that Indy shouldn't have happened after all this?
You know me, I am the queen of please find something new. However, that being said, I love Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I love Harrison Ford, obviously. And I have heard all good things about this movie. You said you liked it. My boss said he liked it. One of my other coworkers said she liked it. Like, those are a different, like, array of people. Like, my boss is very different than you, who is very different than my other coworker, Melanie. I just feel like I think people are soured because of the Crystal Skull situation. And everyone's mad at the shithole that Shia LaBeouf's performance and the writing of the alien weirdness, like took hold of Indiana Jones. I think that this man is, 80 years old and kicked ass in this performance. From what I hear, I didn't see it again personally, so I'm not good. Obviously, I'm not at liberty to say, but I will see it. I am going to see it. But I feel like he, is a spectacular actor, probably did an amazing job. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I know, is a spectacular actress and a writer. I believe that she wrote on this as well. And I'm sure she did an amazing job. I don't understand why people don't want to see it. I know it costs a lot of money for de-aging him. Like, I'm sure that's a huge part of the $3 million budget, plus advertising. But I urge people to see it. I urge people to, continue to do this theater experience, especially amidst, a writer's strike. Because, who else is going to suffer? The movie theaters. AMC is going to suffer. Regal's going to suffer. Cinemark's going to suffer. Like Lowe's is going to suffer. Like, so if we go,
did you say Lowe's?
Yeah, Lowe's movie theater. Are they under already?
Oh, I was gonna say I was thinking Lowe's, the construction and hardware store.
Home Depot's gonna suffer. Menards is gonna suffer, Brian.
True value is not good. I've never heard of Lowe's.
Michigan, no. So you've never heard of Lowe's.
Regal.
right.
Never heard of Lowe's. I'm like Lowe's.
Yeah. Oh,
buy some boards.
Well, everyone else in the country.
Nails.
Everybody else knows what she's talking about.
Knows about Lowe's movie theaters. Like all of these movie theaters are going to suffer, and they're going to be at the brunt of it. Just like at COVID, it was like really hard for a lot of theaters to stay afloat. So I honestly urge people to go and see any movie that they want to see, like Oppenheimer, Barbie, Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible. Like, please go to the theaters, because like it's going to be really difficult for them amidst this strike when they're releasing like very little things that they're stringing it along, because they're trying to take up the airwaves until they reach a deal. So if you want to keep going to the movie theaters in the future, you need to go to the movie theaters now. So I just
watch the first one, Chris.
Especially for a movie like Indiana Jones, like that's meant to be seen in the theater. Mission Impossible meant 100%. To be seen in the theater. You know what I mean? Like just do it. Like do it now.
Do it now.
Your opportunities are going to be few and far between. So please
see it before it's gone. It'd be a shame not to watch this in the theater.
What?
Yeah, it'd be a shame if you don't watch this in the theater and to watch it at home on your TV. Sure. It's definitely one of those big popcorn ones, you know? Mike, did you see it yet or no?
I'm honestly excited for it.
I haven't. I want to see it. I mean, they gave it the money because what? Indiana Jones 4 had the biggest opening weekend, right?
Yeah, biggest one for all the franchise.
That's a bananas reason. That tells you how that the executives are like incredibly out of touch, because they think that equates to like, oh, we should just spend $300 million on the next one. No, it's a bad idea. I said it was a bad idea the first time we brought this up, which to be fair was probably only like a couple of weeks ago, so we were already well into the development process of the movie by that point.
Moments away from release.
Moments away.
Yeah. If not after.
I know. I just feel bad for Harrison, like coming back, and you think that this is like his big send off, and then it's like womp womp. You know, it's really fortunate. You know, it just really is.
It's
not
really
his
big send off. He's on Shrinking. He's doing tons of stuff. He's like
but it's Indies. In a mean way. It's Indies' big send off, though. You know, it really is. And the ending itself, when you see it, you'll see it's like his ending. I mean, kind of. But then again, they leave it open a little bit too. So
one thing I was wondering is that I wasn't aware of beforehand that surprised me is Sabrina, is the de-aging process, is that like a big chunk of budget? That's very expensive.
That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
That surprises me, like, because you see,
expensive.
like, because we, the general public has access to these AI tools now, like just to frickin' upload images and fuck with them, what have you, like, and it isn't that tricky to get good results for the layman.
A moving
frame after frame after frame.
That needs to be like in a movie theater.
And blown up
like,
to
you know what I mean? And like
20 times.
The pixel, the resolution, the whole. I mean, it's a whole thing.
It's easy for me to say like, oh yeah, they just de-age him, like not think that has like not think that has a $40 million price tag on it.
Standing there in the same place for like a minute in the scene, not a big deal. But for him to be doing action sequences.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the moving frames. Think about how many frames are in that too, and there's a lot of action. And
soon enough,
the whole first half hour is that.
The price for that is going to drop drastically over just the next couple of years. Like even in like high physical movement, scenes. You can mark my words on that one.
Yeah, I think it will too, but it just takes time. They have so much of this footage that they were using and digging into.
The less, it's like when it's cutting edge and that's all you have, it's the most expensive it can be. Like LASIK eye surgery or like, you know what I mean? Like literally anything.
We're going to have you're correct. You're correct, but what it does mean is that we're going to have a 90-year-old Harrison Ford that they're going to be paying $60 million to get out of bed, because now they don't have to put that part of the budget on de-aging him because it's cheap now.
Capture his image and
right.
anyone.
They do some big thing, but they do some big stuff in this movie. Like there's some big scenes, and then a lot of practical effects too, which made me think that also jacked the budget up. Because when you see some of these scenes they shot, like blew my mind. It's like they really went there. Chase scenes, like scenes that are like that I've never seen in any movie before. They just really went there. And for
everybody
me,
said it was good. I haven't seen it. Everybody that I spoke to said it was good.
Any movie before, like who wants to go see something they've seen already? Like that's ridiculous.
I know. Well, I'm saying it felt like the old school indie movies. Like the last one didn't feel like that. You could tell that George Lucas influence, and this one really felt like Spielberg's movies back in the day. You know, and I think that's why Spielberg said like he watched it and he was like. He nailed it. He's like, it looks just like something that we did back then. And, you know, this happened like 20 years ago. So, I mean, it's a long time. And I feel so bad.
They should have got Ki Wong back. That would have been great.
They had a different kid in this, so there was a new kid, and the new kid was kind of filling into that.
I hate to break it.
I know. You need a kid.
Always be a kid, Brian.
It's a lot of money, though. It's a lot of money, and something else that they wasted a lot of money on was the Masters of the Universe live action movie that was going to come out. And you're like, a He-Man live action movie? Do we need Dolph? Is Dolph Lundgren back? No, there's no Dolph Lundgren. Is Courtney Cox back? No, there's not that. But Netflix picked this up. They paid $30 million to develop this. $30 million so far to Sony, and then they cast the role. They had all the rights they got back in 2019. They're moving forward. Of course, they had that cartoon one by Kevin Smith on Netflix that did pretty good. But this was like diving in. We're going back to the live action. We've been trying to develop this for years. They've gone through 2 studios, Warner Brothers and Sony. They went through countless writers, directors. John Chu was attached to this. Mick G was attached to this at one point. But it was scrapped by Netflix over budget. That's what it came down to. They wanted $200 million for it, and then Netflix had this whole thing, which we've talked about before, where they had their stock drop, and they had a lot of people drop, and that happened. And they lost a lot of money, and they started looking for things to cut. And this is one of those things that got cut. It just got announced yesterday. And the thing is, they're saying. They're starting to shop it around. Mattel's trying to shop it around. Of course, they have. This is made by Mattel, but of course, they have Barbie coming out. If that's a big success, maybe that'll piggyback to somebody else wanting to pick up Masters of the Universe. But of course, this is a 80s franchise that really doesn't have a lot of oomph going into it right now. So I feel like it's kind of a hard sell. Of course, like I said, all you have is that Netflix cartoon, but is that enough to get this going to a new generation to sell it? They took it back to Netflix. Said we can do it for $180 million as opposed to $200, and they said, no, it doesn't help anybody. We're not. We're done. It's a hard pass. This guy Kyle Allen attached to it. The directing duo of Adam and Aaron Nee, who did The Lost City, that was attached to it too. They were going to direct this one, but it's done. Everybody, there's no cash for it. They're moving on. Yeah, it was okay, but this movie wasn't ever going to be a thing because they just said, they lost a lot of money and their stockholders were dropping, and they just don't want to spend $200 million on a He-Man movie.
Let me give you a pitch, Brian. I want the top comment on this.
What do you want from this? What do you think about this He-Man being dropped?
How about this? How about don't spend $200 million on a fucking He-Man movie?
Pay your people, fuckers.
You're right, Mike.
Wait, these are different. Maybe these are different points. Pay your people, fuckers. What's pay your people, fuckers, Sabrina?
Pay your people, fuckers. People fuckers deserve money too, Mike.
Well, we're all people fuckers, aren't
we? We are. But do you think that this will go someplace else, Mike, or do you think this is done for He-Man?
Oh, sorry. I don't know if we're having a little tech issue there. The comment that I was going to make was just that. Okay, like $200 million on a property that's only a property due to nostalgia's sake. Like, I don't know if it's like you said. Like, it's not like it's had great iterations of the narrative, like the Ninja Turtles or something, for example, something that's had consistent
the movie's
toys
gonna be good
being
too,
made,
I think.
like comics, like everything that's just been pushed the whole time. Like, if that was the case, yeah, maybe $200 million to reinvigorate the property. For something like He-Man, I think it's going to take more than appeasing the investors by pumping cash into the project. I think you're going to actually have to find someone who has some love for it, who can maybe throw in some analog stuff, do some freaking film some shit with film, like in the desert, do some practical effects, like give us some shitty crazy lightning effects, like using analog effects, like. They can do that stuff better now than they've ever been able to, because they have the technical knowledge. Like, looking back in the history books, like, everything doesn't have to be just digital, throw money at it, more and more teams of visual effects artists. Like, I don't care about that. Like, even if you're pumping something like nostalgia for my money, which I think is, inherently problematic as it is, because it's some imagined perfectionary past, like whatever. It's like, your childhood was great, okay, whatever. But if you can de-age Dolph Lundgren and do some crazy analog lightning effects, like, and a Skeletor,
man.
Give me a Skeletor with practical effects that looks awesome. Engage LucasArts. Like, tell LucasArts, like, here's $20 million, like, to make us bring it together, a whole department to make this look badass. Like, I don't think that I'm the only person that's saying this, to be honest. But that's my take.
I don't think so, Mike. I also think, like, for me, I'm like, I just don't see people watching this, right, Mike? I just don't see people wanting this.
Who cares?
And
like,
honestly,
we're the exact audience, Brian, and we don't give a shit.
And the 80s one was like, it was cool, but it was still a piece of shit. For a great cast too, and they couldn't do it then. They're not going to do it now. And throwing more money at this IP is not going to save it, I don't think. And I just think that, it's Netflix probably saw the writing on the wall. They're like, hey, this is a waste of money. Why do we want to waste our money on this? $200 million is a lot of money. Maybe they're listening to you, Mike. Maybe they're like, hey, Mike Casey is right. No, we're not going to spend $200 million on Masters of the Universe. We're going to say F this, unless we have Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella back, which we're not going to ever do that, that's just not going to happen. He's, but I just don't know. Like, I think this is doomed from the beginning. It went through, like I said, multiple writers, directors, actors. They've gone through everything, and it just wasn't happening. And I think that's what happens to projects like this. And we're in a writer's strike. We're in an actor's strike. This is not going to work out. I don't think it's going to be picked up. Do you think Sabrina, think somebody's going to pick this up, or do you agree with Mike? What do you think?
It's super unfortunate that I think someone will pick it up, because people don't like to take a chance on new things, and they like to recycle old ideas because they feel like there is some sort of a fan base somewhere, and they think that it's a better thing. But however, however, those basically equal the same thing. So I apologize for my bad English. My problem is, like, you're in the midst of a strike, so you're like, we'll cut the fat with, like, super, like, high budget things. But, like, if you think about it, taking a chance on He-Man, by the way, which has not really been that popular in a fucking while, for $200 million, instead of taking a chance on something new and original that can be shot and, packaged, everything, promotion, all the things for $300,000. Like, why would you not do more of those things instead of these huge, big budget things that could very easily flop? I mean, maybe it'll be like Indiana Jones, which is probably really good from what people are saying.
It's so good.
But it's breaking even. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that when you can take a chance on something that some amazing, talented writer came up with amazing, talented actors, and your budget is, like, exponentially lower? And if it fails, it's basically like you wiping your ass with the fucking toilet paper that you wipe your ass with every fucking day.
Very evocative image.
You're like, let's do a $200 million, go fuck yourself. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It has to be effective, Sabrina. It has to be more effective to throw it away on $300 million on the chance than it is to budget, than it is to greenlight 15 movies. Like, is it not, Sabrina? Because why would they do it? Like, because they're all about the investors and the stock price.
I just think like people are out of touch. They're like old and by old I don't mean like 100. I just mean like their ideas, like they've been working in this industry for a long time. People who are like presidents and CEOs and like all these things, like they have been there for a long time. Like they don't get a fresh new idea. They don't get how A24, who by the way has 2 productions that are working, for SAG right now, because they're not part of AMPTP, like how they won all of the Oscars last fucking year for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Instead, they will recycle and redo and spend all of their money on all this big budget bullshit when you could actually do something amazing that is new and fresh and exciting. But they don't find it as safe. they're not like edge breaking.
Safety is the name of the game. That's what money
it's
wants.
not.
That's how it
Safety.
works.
Well, that's how. That's
Who's crunching the numbers
work.
though? That's what I want to know, because I would have to think that like the wealth management companies that are crunching the numbers on this are saying that like that when you're talking about an investment portfolio of tens of billions of dollars and you're amortizing this over the whole like massive multi-billion-dollar movie industry, that it's safer on average to lean that way. Yeah.
But
it has nothing to do with art. Has nothing to do with art at all.
The Oscars last year, like if you want greatness, you cannot play it safe. Like if you were in the stock market and you were playing them, people like, oh well, I'll just buy like $5 of this and $10 of that. You're gonna make maybe $20 of this and $30 of that. As opposed to like if you go, hey, I'm gonna put $100 on this thing that is worth a penny right now. In 2 years, you might have $1 billion. Like when people first invested in Bitcoin, like you can't. There is no reward without risk.
They don't know. They don't know who to believe in. Though.
All the fucking time.
You gotta risk.
It's easier. It's easier to just make a million safe bets though. Like, and when you control the whole game, like, who cares,
but you're like,
right?
You're supposed to be appeasing the masses, and you're just pissing people off.
You know who else is pissing people off, Sabrina, though? Harry and Meghan.
What?
That's who's pissing people
Oh,
off.
yeah, here we
Because
go.
Harry and Meghan,
Always.
they can't stop. They can't stop because they're back one more time. And why are they back in the news? And that's why they're going to change their names, apparently. They decided they're going to be dropping their Sussex titles and use Prince Diana's maiden name, Spencer. That's what's going around now. They've been telling this to a royal author. They've been telling their friends. They've been putting it out there, being like, what do you think about this idea? Should we drop it? Should we reboot ourselves? Find a new way for people to look at us because they keep getting mad at us for being Harry and Meghan, but they got to find a way to do this. And that's what they think, at least in general. And so by going back to Spencer and finding that rights, they can make her the new Diana. That's what apparently they're saying behind closed doors. That should be the next Diana. And for me, I'm just like, no, you're not. You're not the next Diana. You're not. You're not even close to that. You're Harry and Meghan. You're the most hated couple from the British Empire. You know what I mean? Like, and they're discussing this and they're going through it. And I found this, and of course, when we talk about them, we got. When I see some, we got to talk about them. So they're apparently going to be dropping their titles, maybe, and going by Spencer, which to me,
They already dropped their titles, by the way.
But I mean, this is like completely done. Wipe it away. Reboot their days.
The only way that they don't have their titles is if, like, fucking King Charles is like, strips them of them. So like they can drop their titles all they want.
Oh, really?
Like, you know what I mean? I could not use like he could
King
not
Charles.
use his title. She could not use her title. It doesn't unless they are stripped of their titles from the King of England. Like it doesn't fucking matter. You can.
That makes it even smarter.
Makes it smarter. Yeah.
To me.
What do you think, Mike? Do you think they should drop it to Spencer? You think they should just be like, go by Spencer? Or do you not care at all about them anymore?
Well, ever since Princess Diana hit the tabloids in 1987 with her adventure into American retail market with Spencer's Gifts, the American public has.
I bought many whoopee cushions from Spencer's Gifts.
I don't. I was amused by you. I was amused by you. I wasn't being amused by myself. Yeah, Spencer's Gifts, the Princess Diana store, right?
It's a great place.
Mug with balls.
Very popular back in the day.
They're we're talking about them, man. We're talking about them like they got headlines like and even smarter, like as Sabrina says, it affects nothing.
Nope.
It affects nothing other than their tabloid image. Like
that's all it is.
They're
like
cashing
relevancy.
in. They're cashing in. Like I think I made earlier in the show a little like goldfish and sprinkling flakes. Like if we keep coming up to the top of the bowl, and all they got to do is sprinkle flakes, like. Who are the dumb ones?
Nom,
like,
nom, 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 nom,
it's
nom,
us.
nom.
That's you and me. That's you and me making that noise, Brian. Yeah. I like it. I like it. I think does it hurt anyone is the question, and it might hurt someone, and that might invalidate my whole argument.
Well, it might hurt the actual.
Yes,
the British Empire because people get mad about them. The family, they're mad about him dropping
royals. I don't give a shit about royals. Are you kidding me?
Rude. I mean, you don't have to give a shit about them, but like their culture gives a shit about them a lot. And like their purpose, these two people, their purpose is to destroy the fucking family.
And that is not cool. I don't care if you're royal or not. Like if anyone is part of any family and your goal is to destroy the rest of your family, like go fuck yourself. Not cool. Not a fan.
Do they care? Do they care that much, or do they just want to pour gasoline on an outrage fire?
They don't care that much, but the royal family cares.
I'm saying the British people. I think that they care about the drama. It's
care.
like it's the what's the MTV show from back? It's the real world. It's the real. It was the original. The royal family is the original real world. They're the original real world.
No, this is like
the British world.
This monarch has been in effect like forever, and it is literally like what I've said this before. Like when they were getting married, there were like shit tons of people. I don't want to like say millions or thousands or hundreds of thousands. I don't know, but like the streets were lined with people in wedding dresses. Like they are submersed and immersed in
delusional people. Is who you're talking about, right?
That's how they grew up. Like that is
it's weird.
The royal family is very, very important to the people who live there. Like, it's not important to you because we live in a democracy that somehow, never mind. I'm not going to get into politics. My point is that it's not as important to you as it is to them. To them, like, this is a staple. Like, this is what they believe. This is what, like, they literally, like, there are people who report on them. There are royal specialists. There are people who
you want to enable their delusions is what I'm hearing.
No, not at all. It's not, but it's not a delusion. Like that's their system of government. There's a parliament. There's a king and a queen. There's like
that's how they get paid.
It's like just all of a sudden being like presidents are stupid. Which, by the way, the system of the presidency is stupid. But like there should
presidents
be.
Are awesome.
There should be like some, there needs to be
reform. I'll take a prime minister
in a lot of things here. But yeah, you can't just shit on someone's term of government. And a monarchy is a term of government.
They have nothing. Do they have anything to do with government? They're just like they're the spokespeople. They're the goddamn Ronald McDonald of the biggest empire in the world, right?
Yeah,
no, I'm
of the British people.
GR, by the way, not talking about those two. I'm not talking about those two. I'm talking about the monarchy in general at the moment. GR, not them. They're ridiculous. I hate them. Everyone knows I do not care for them. I love having this because I realize she is a succubus, but I do also, not feel bad for him anymore. I used to feel very bad for him, and now I don't because he's let her envelop him and make all of his decisions and put his life in a weird fucked up direction that we all have to watch and like continue to watch. But it's like just like the Kardashians. Like it is like, there no publicity is bad publicity. And so they do dumb shit like fake car chases and just like a couple like last weekend or something, she was in Montecito at a farmer's market buying flowers and had her dog with her when they have a strict no dogs policy. So she's like,
don't care.
I'm a royal. I'm here. It doesn't matter. And I have my dog. You can kindly go fuck yourself.
Use it when you can.
By herself, which I feel like was making a statement to not be with Harry. Like
the fact that you know about it, means that it was a ploy that worked, right? Maybe that's conspiratorial. I don't know.
I don't know about it because I give a fuck. I know about it because I research my job as a person on this podcast. Like I don't.
Well, yeah, the fact that anyone wrote about it is what I'm saying.
Pictures of her on fucking line, like, oh my god, Meghan was shopping for flowers.
And it was so good. She was wearing a red floral
whatever you
dress.
just did. I like that. You can do that all the time, Sabrina.
Oh my god, you guys! I was shopping for flowers.
I mean, to change their names, to change their names and get rid of that whole heritage and stuff like that's bad enough. They've been we're done with this, but that's like a big nail in the coffin for the whole family.
Hard pause for you, sir. They first reported on this a month ago, right? This is not brand new news. Like this changing their name thing was floated a month ago. I don't think it gained any traction or water, and I don't think it's going to happen. Like she floated it because all of the press with Spare was not as what's the right word? As
monumental.
It wasn't received as well as they had hoped for. Then she took a walk back and pretended like she didn't know about everything that was in Spare. And she was like, I had no idea. No, bitch, there's no way that guy would take a shit without telling you. Like, where he goes, what he does, like what pubic hairs he plucks. So don't pretend like you had no idea what was in that book. You read every fucking word and approved it. So I find that huge bullshit. Also, she had a weird situation with that fake car chase that like people were like, yeah, we don't believe
Whole
you,
thing.
which they didn't love. Also, that their podcast, her podcast, that Archetypes or whatever, was canceled on
Archetypes,
Spotify. So they were having like a bit of a bad run, and
$20
so
million she got paid, though.
the idea. I don't think they're going to give her all of it though. Like she didn't produce enough content. I think that they didn't get the full payment because she didn't produce enough content with the 12 episodes or whatever. Don't quote me on that, but I think that that's the case.
Spotify's whole business is platforming the unplatformable.
Just give them a place to talk.
Could you imagine literally, and I'm stealing this from somebody on something I read today, and I don't know who, and whoever you are, if you're watching this, you're amazing. They said, could you imagine somebody being so rich that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, but they still manage to get denied jobs? Like, I don't know how you are super fucking rich, you can do whatever you want, but Spotify is like, go fuck yourself. Netflix is like, see you later. And like, you can literally like not get paid to do anything, but you show up at a farmer's market with your fucking dog and get like a fucking, a pap walk fucking holiday. Like, go fuck yourself, you dumb, fucking disillusioned, selfish, using cunt. Excuse my language, but she is a fucking cunt. She ruined this poor man's life who, like, beforehand was a very, he's had a bit of a rough go. You know what I mean? His brother was always in line for the throne. He wasn't.
He's spare.
He was younger when his mother passed away. He took it very hard. Like, he is a spare. And I used to feel bad for him. But she literally has, like, succubused him, if anyone watches South Park, to the point where, like, he is, like, a shell of a human being and just does whatever she wants him to do. And then she pretends, like, that she's, like, out on her own. And she's like, oh, I'm all by myself. Like, fuck you, bitch. I hate it. I hate her. Like, the whole thing is ridiculous. And people are saying that what prompted this whole situation, by the way, not the name changing bit, but her going out for a public appearance, was the fact that they didn't get nominated for an Emmy for their shithole documentary series that basically threw all of the stones.
Oh,
at
now
the British
that does make
family.
me feel bad.
That's,
like she just needs to go out and get attention, and then we just give it to her. Yeah,
She's like,
it's still our fault.
I'm doing like a thing.
With the attention and with the attention.
Okay, it's sickness. It's sickness all across the board. You've convinced me. It's everybody's fault.
By the way, who needs to get an award for tearing apart a family? Does that mean that you got a victory? You already took their son away. Now you need to get an award for it? Fuck you,
it's messed up.
Self-centered fucking bitch. Okay? Bye-bye. I don't want anything to do with you. No one wants to hear about you anymore. And I can't even, like you said, Mike, I can't even believe the fact that she went to a farmer's market to get some flowers garnered this much attention. But that is what happens when, the spotlight is on you.
I think a lot of people are thinking that too, Sabrina. I think you're not alone in that idea. And I think a lot of people are sick of hearing about them and sick of these rich people.
If they were sick of hearing about them, we wouldn't be hearing about them anymore, Brian.
No publicity is bad publicity, and they know that, so they just keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, no publicity. I mean, publicity is always good, but the thing is, the problem here, at the end of the day, is just we talk about like rich people just taking advantage of people and trying to be in the spotlight and trying to be more important than everybody else and not, taking care of people, because every day people need to be taken care of. And right now, there's a big thing happening where people need to be taken care of, and they need their rights, and they need opportunities, and they need money, and they need an equal share, because that's a big deal. And that leads me to our featured story of the night. Let's get it. All right, everybody, I want to dive into the big thing for today that everyone's talking about. It's on everyone's news media, and that is the SAG-AFTRA strike. And you're probably wondering to yourself, like, why are they striking? What's happening to Hollywood? Why am I not getting my TV shows? Why am I not getting my movies? Like, what's happening? Why is Hollywood fighting? Are the actors being greedy? Are the producers being greedy? What's happening? Let me break this down for you a little bit. We want to talk about this because as a card-carrying member of SAG-AFTRA, I support this strike fully, and I believe this is... It's a card-carrying member. And I feel like this is a very good thing that they're doing because... Members? I mean... I don't know, FICOR people? I don't know, FICOR people. But anyways, so break it down for a second. I want to break down some of the main points of why there's a strike happening. The first thing is just pay. So it's a 3-year contract. And normally they set up, 1, 2, 3, we're getting this percentage this year, that percentage this year, that percentage that year. So SAG-AFTRA asked for 11% raise the very first time. Then they wanted a 4% the second year and a 4% the third year. And the producers said, no, we'll give you 5% the first year, 3% or 4% the second year, and 3.5% the third year. very big difference in the numbers. But SAG-AFTRA is saying that we need that 11% raise right now because of inflation, because after all these contracts, we haven't had a significant raise and the cost of living has gone up. So we need a big boost the first year. And then we have raises that are smaller the following years, as we always do. But, AMPTP is like, no, that's not normal. We're giving you monumental with 5%. Normally, it's about a 3% raise the first year, which has been nothing. And our last president really didn't care, signed it, called it a day, square rooted that bitch and called it a day. And, she went home. That's what it was. So that's a big thing. AI is a big thing. And you've heard that on the news. Why are you worried about AI? Well, they're leaving principal and background actors in the dust, invulnerable. The one clause in the contract was this. They were able to scan background people for half a paycheck, $100, scan their likeness and use it in perpetuity forever for $100.
Forever. And till the end of time on any project they want.
Ever. And what does that do? That means that those jobs go away. That's what they wanted to do.
Fuck you
said,
guys. Oh my God, that's huge.
Yeah. Fuck you. And that's why that was a big deal that they were like, and the producers are like, well, no, this is a monumental AI stuff. And it's like, it's not. And they're being very iffy about everything else. But that was the main fact that SAG-AFTRA said they saw, and they told me I had to go, and they said no. And so that was a big thing on AI. That was a big deal. They want to also combine the East and West Coast contrast for background actors because they're totally different. So there's like one contract for both, which kind of makes sense. Doesn't matter where you are. Like New York get like night pay, and LA don't get night pay. So if you work after like 10 p.m. and you're working late into the night, you get extra money because you're working through the night. They don't do that in LA. So like stuff like that, they want to just make it even, make it normal, and have it across board. Even like when you think about like if someone has to go to set at 6 a.m. and they're in a shady area, because that happens. They shoot in weird locations. These actors have to sit in their cars or in a weird area where they could get abducted or something, and that's a worst case scenario. But they ask the producers, we want to be able to give them like better places with security to take care of them in these situations. So that was like one thing. And also for background things, and people that I know that have been fighting for this, like double duty. You work 2 jobs, you should get 2 paychecks, I think. If you're doing background, you're being a stand-in, you should also get a paycheck for both. They said, no way, we're not doing that. When actors are covering other actors, background are upgraded to cover actors. They said we should get at least half a paycheck, if not a full paycheck as an actor. You're acting in this scene, you're working it out. They were like, no, we'll give them $150 and call it a day. But you're acting in this scene, you're wearing the wardrobe, you're doing the whole job that an actor does, and they refuse doing that. Those are big things that happen.
That's so exploitative, Brian. They're just saying we can get everything that we possibly can out of you, like, and not compensate you as to the function that you're performing in the production. Like,
it's true.
I'm sorry, I haven't looked into this level of specifics. Like, that shit blows me away, dude.
And even the residuals thing, if you go back to like, before with all the contracts, we had regular primetime TV, right? They have all these residuals set up because the way the job is as an actor, like they want people to be working as a full-time profession. That's why residuals came into play. Been agreed upon over and over again by the AMPTP and SAG-AFTRA, over from SAG to AFTRA.
Residuals started when Ronald Reagan was president.
1960. And that's the thing. And it was the idea of making it not a gig job. And with streaming, it's become a gig job. Now there's no residuals for most of these actors. And again, they're giving their paycheck and that's it. And they asked for less than 1%. It's like 0.97% of the CEO's gross income from the project for the actor. And they said, go fuck yourself, because they don't want to share their profits. When they're making billions of dollars, they don't want to share less than 1% with the actors to give them residuals to carry them through on hiatuses. And when they want to hold them on contracts because they don't to go anyplace else, they asked for that too. Well, that we release them from your contract, so during the hiatus they can work someplace else. And a lot of these companies said no, we want to keep them so they don't work anyplace else. So when we start back up, we have them ready and available. And they're like, well, then we need to pay them. We need to pay them residuals. And they said no. That's a big thing. And it's like, how do you work? How do you support yourself? How do you support your family if you don't have that income coming in? You can't. And if you don't know, most actors jump from job to job to job. If you're not on a regular thing, you work 5 shows in 1 week, then you barely make your bills paid. And that's a big deal. And the AMPTP says they gave up monumental things, and really they did not, if you think about it. And it's like, are they far apart? Yeah, they're far apart. Now, will AMPTP actually sit down and work this out? I don't know. As Sabrina said too, there's like 39 indie projects that are getting waivers. They can keep shooting. A24, she said, 2 projects. They're saying they're truly indie, but A24 will sell to a studio, so that kind of seems like BS.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise was acting. Yeah, Tom Cruise was acting for them to be able to do press during this time too. That's not right.
The only thing is about the A24 thing is they are adhering to the latest proposal that SAG proposed to the AMPTP. So they're paying the raise, they're paying they're paying for all the things that SAG is asking for. Now, once it's all said and done, it will be adjusted to whatever they agree upon. But right now, they're doing what SAG is asking.
So that's not seen as crossing the picket line, then, right?
I mean, I guess not, because they're giving them waivers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense to me. That's great. That's great. Oh, I'm happy because I love A24. To hear them continuing production and being ethical about it, that's great.
I agree 100% with what Brian's saying, because that will go to a studio and they will reap the benefits of that, which is annoying. But at the same time, what they're saying is that SAG is it'll show AMPTP, because they are not associated with AMPTP at the moment. These things are not outlandish, that these things are attainable, and they are, not asking for the fucking world. They'll adhere to these things as an independent company, as should you, a multi-billion-dollar fucking company who's paying their CEOs hundreds of millions of fucking dollars, while you're leaving people to wait for their apartments to be fucking taken over, or their houses to be fucking put in foreclosure. So, I mean, I get that to an extent. And also on Tom Cruise, sorry not to jump in, Brian, but
get in there.
On the Tom Cruise thing is he basically was done with, I thought it was press for the new Mission Impossible, but he is done with press for Mission Impossible, and he basically was advocating for this for movie theaters and for the movie going experience. It didn't benefit him personally at all, but I was saying before, about how you don't want movie theaters to go away or go under or disappear, and you still want to have that experience. He's
fighting for it.
If you allow people to do press for things that they've already shot, and it's not breaking the contract, as far as shooting is concerned, it will help keep revenue up for movie theaters and for people spending money on the industry that's not, related to shooting and giving money to the AMPTP directly. Although revenue does give money to the AMPT directly, but things that are already, he was basically advocating for the continuation of the movie going experience.
Yeah. It's a lot, and there's that whole Ron Perlman thing too, which was hilarious. I don't know if you saw that, Mike.
Amazing.
Sabrina sent it to me, but Ron Perlman was talking about how that whole thing came out. We talked about on the show too about how what's the AMPTP strategy for the WGA? Well, they were saying, we're going to wait till they lose all their money, they lose their apartments, and then they have to sign whatever deal we have.
Of course.
Messed up, right? Well, Ron Perlman went out there and he said, oh, really? Well, there's lots of ways to lose your house, financially, of course. You don't have the money, you lose your apartment. But that producer who said this, and I know who you are, you can also lose your house if it gets burned down.
I knew that's what you were going to say. I knew it was going to be a direct threat that.
He did not say those words. He did
it was
not
very,
say those
very
words.
close.
Imply?
He said there are many ways to lose your house. One way is financial, another way is karma, and another way is just finding out who the fuck said that and finding out where the fuck they live. He didn't specifically say anything about any way that the house was going to go away. Do not put Ron Perlman into the fucking oven. It's not fair. That man.
He talked about it burning down. He talked about burning down.
No, he didn't. He did not.
It's
I've watched it 15
to
times. Watched again. He didn't say that.
In the discussion, it's referred to as stochastic terrorism, meaning putting your idea into the minds of crazy people to make your targets nervous.
But who doesn't light threat us every fucking day about how
that's
you're
a
not going to have your medical
point.
Insurance?
That's a good point. I don't feel that bad.
You know what I mean? It's fuck off. I don't care. And good for him. Good for him.
Ron Perlman's great like that. Really, every time you turn around, he's saying some great shit.
Good for him. Hellboy, Sons of Anarchy. But when he said that shit, he was
Chris.
Motherfucker. When he said that shit, I was shaking in my boots. I was like, oh my God. And if I was that person, I would have been shaking in their boots. Because I don't know who it is. He apparently knows, but I don't know.
He's a real keeper. He's a real one, that guy.
But way to speak out and fucking say, how fucking dare you? Because no one else, I could say that all day. No one's going to fucking listen. Good for him.
There's a lot of actors coming forward. We got, Jason Sudeikis right here out there picketing. There's a lot of people going out there just telling people that we need to stand up for people. It's time for things to change. And it is. Like, the thing is, before, it has been years. And I've said this multiple times, the contracts come through and they get ratified. And I'm like, they say monumental every time the AMPTP, monumental. And SAG-AFTRA has said that in the past. It's never been like our last contract. Back in 2020, I will still say this, it was the best time ever they could have worked something out and made it happen where we didn't have, like,
no, but we
all
had
this
a
happening
cunt
now.
for president. We had basically Meghan Markle might as well have been our president. Thank you, Gabrielle Cuntieras, for doing fucking nothing and being a fucking loser, fucking compliant cunt because you're a fucking producer. So fuck off. I'm glad you're not president anymore. And Fran Drescher, you have my full blessing to be as amazing as you're being and standing up for people's rights and standing up for background artists' rights and for standing up for stand-ins' rights, because that is what makes up most of SAG. Most of SAG are people who are not, like, the Tom Cruises are making up like 1% of SAG, and like the people who are doing background crosses and standing in and covering for actors and covering for day players who they don't want to fucking pay or stand-ins, they make up most of fucking SAG. And she is actually going in there and standing up for the little people, but the little people make up the entirety pretty much of the fucking union. And that is unheard of. And that other bitch from 90210 who had one part ever, and she was the least liked person on the show, thinks that she can just walk in there in her bathrobe and be like, oh, I don't want to argue. Let's just sign stuff. I don't care. Fuck you. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I'm glad you're not president anymore. I'm super, super fucking stoked that you have left the fucking building. And please don't ever come back because no one likes you.
No. No.
Hey,
goodbye, Gabby.
Go fuck yourself.
Fuck off.
It's a lot.
Bitch.
Mike, I mean, you used to work in the industry quite a bit too. You were out here before. What do you think about the contract news coming up? It's affecting everybody. You're hearing a lot about it in the news. And now you have a little bit more insight in this too. What do you think about this? Do you think it's right that SAG is standing up?
Yeah, man. Wow. What'd you say? They're asking for like 1%
of the gross profits
on the streaming.
11%.
That's for the actors in aggregate. Like,
yes.
Yeah, like people that participate in the production of a commodity.
Should get
like
part
if
of
I
profits.
follows, like the rest is capitalism competition. Like they helped produce the fucking thing. You get a taste of the fucking honey. Like, is it that goddamn tricky? Like, we're in Bananas universe. I think we've known that we're in Bananas universe for a number of years now. I don't know, Brian. I don't know what to say. Like, it's really surprising. I think that there's probably still a perception that that the working class actors, because I don't know if this was you can tell me, Brian, was this always a term, working class actors? Because it might just be with the rise of podcasts and stuff, so that we're getting a little bit more of an internal view of the people in their work lives. Like, but the idea of working class actors, if it's always existed, right? Yeah. What's your response to that?
Yeah. I mean, it's always kind of existed. It just hasn't been brought to light a lot of times. Like I said, working class actors are like any kind of job. If you don't have a job to go to, if you're not working multiple jobs a week and without residuals, I mean, you're not going to pay your bills. It's not going to happen. Someone can be on TV, like, oh, this person's freaking awesome, and they're so amazing, and they're barely getting by. And I mean, you go back to the days
the producers, right? Like if the producers, if the directors want to create like a quality product, they need people that are able to take care of their families, have their lives while focusing on what they want their profession to be, other than part-timers, right?
It's not supposed to be a part-time thing. If you want the quality of it, if you want the people there, you have to pay them as if it's a regular job. That's the way it was set up. This is not supposed to be like I was going to say, like some kid's summer job that's doing this, this is supposed to be a profession. And it's always been said back in the 60s, back then, they used to actually hire people. They live on the lot and they would send them from production to production to production. That was how it worked to be an actor. But when it changed and they stopped doing those contracts, they changed this form, and this form made sense for forever, and the quality has always been good, but it starts going down when people can't pay. They change professions. You get less talented people. You get more, of course, it's becoming a thing in the days where we have like these celebrity influencers, and that's what it is. But I think that we're losing quality by cutting people's pay, and we're losing people who could be giving great performances and making your movies better by doing this. And you're not going to have show business if this keeps going, if we can't work a deal. Now, right now, Mike, they're saying this could go for 3 months. There's rumors that it might go towards all the way until February, which I don't think is true. I don't think it'll go that long.
Good.
Good. But that's
I hope that the union can take care of people enough to hold and has the resources that it needs and continues to acquire the resources that it needs to hold out until they get everything that they want. Because they're pretending that the money's not there, and you really can't do that while you're continuing to expand the reach of your media conglomerate. Like, the money's there, guys.
Money's there.
Give it.
You're
to
making the money.
Creating.
There was
You just want to get the cut.
There used to be a different guild called Screen Extras Guild that was in play until 1990, and they were dissolved into SAG with an extreme fucking pay cut and an extreme lack of fucking bumps and like fucking financial fucking incentives, because SAG-AFTRA basically threw them under the fucking bus for, again, the producers. So for you to the fact that happened is super fucked up. But the fact that after that happened, that we don't take care of our background actors at all is it's unconscionable, honestly. The fact that you can say that a background actor can get scanned and used forever, without any consent or any fucking compensation, until the end of time by whatever studio scanned them, is ridiculous. These people are trying to make a living. They're trying to make their days and be able to get their medical insurance, which, by the way, is difficult for someone who is not on a repeat. As a stand-in, you work on a show. So if I work on a show that goes for 6 months, I'm going to work on that show for 6 months. It might not be every day, but I will be on that show for 6 months as a stand-in. Now, if I'm a background actor, maybe I'm working a party scene that goes for 3 days. And then when those 3 days are up, I have to go find another scene to go work on. Maybe I'm an office worker on another show for 1 day. And then maybe I am, a friend of somebody for a featured extra role for 1 day. And then maybe I go to somewhere where I'm a classmate in college for 2 weeks. But there's no guarantee. You have to keep hustling jobs. And hopefully make
you sure do.
Your medical insurance. Now, if you can scan me and use me however you want to use me, and I'm a background actor, I'm fucked. I have zero possibility of being able to earn my medical insurance or use this as a career. So basically, you work on one set 1 day, and you're like, well, that's my career.
That's your career.
I'm going to go ahead and move on and be a tutor. It doesn't make any sense. It is ridiculous. And it is, again.
Why would I pay for your medical insurance if I can just give you a $200 check and get you in perpetuity passing by the background?
There's over 100,000 members of SAG, and most of them are in this position, which is not fucking fair. How dare you? How dare you? And it's hard enough to be a background actor that is bouncing around from things. When I first moved out here, I did that. I'd get off a job at 6 in the morning and then have to get to another job at 7 in the morning.
Not easy.
I'd be late to a set after being up all night on another set, because you know how long you're going to be there, or what time your call time is going to be when you submit for something else. Or if you have a call-in service that books you on shit.
It's kind of insane. It's kind of totally insane.
It is ridiculous. And
it's totally insane.
I stopped doing background over 15 years ago. It's too much. But I applaud people who continue to do that regularly and continue to, bounce around from set to set and try to, do what they're doing. I was like, this is too much. I started standing in, which was amazing. And then obviously acting, voiceover, whatever. I will never do background again. You are abused. You are treated like shit, first of all. Everyone talks to you like you're a cockroach, which is fucked up.
It sucks.
And then you get a different craft service. You get, even if you're SAG, you're supposed to be able to get the same craft service as everyone else. But oftentimes, especially on big shoots,
bananas and water.
Yeah, they get bananas and water. Yeah, and then a little bag of Doritos this big, and ridiculous shit. And And they just treat you like shit. Everyone talks to you like shit. PAs talk to you like shit because they get talked to like shit, but from their superiors. Like, it is just a hierarchy of fucking bullshit, and they get shit on. Like, if you're a background person who's lucky to be like on a show where you're like a regular, like, you know, like on Bosch, which I worked on, we had a lot of background that were like police officers. So they were around all the time. They fucking loved it. They loved it. We knew that.
Yeah, the regular gigs are nice.
They were amazing. Yeah. But how rare is that, you know? I just think about showing up at a show, or especially on a mass call, when wardrobe is treating you like an asshole, the PAs are treating you like you have to go pee and they tell you to go fuck yourself. Your shoes are too loud. They're ridiculous things that they pick on you for. And it's like all of their frustrations from their jobs and their responsibilities trickle down to you, who makes the least amount of money out of anyone on set, a background performer. And
let's pay them half a day's paycheck and scan them.
Yeah, but thank God that we have a president that is willing to stand up for the little person. Like, that is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it blows my mind. It blows my mind, and I'm happy we have a president that's actually in a fight. Too. Like, when Fran first got in, I was kind of skeptical, but like, she's really been stepping up, and I applaud her for that too.
Me too.
I mean, buying a new building and actually using our funds and not just throwing $9 million away every year. You know what I mean? Like, actually doing something good, and then fighting for the little person. I guess they call her the nanny negotiator. They're like really mad. AMPTP is because she's fighting for the little person.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the bulk of the union, and we deserve to be fought for. It all needs to happen. And honestly, people, you should please support them. People try to twist the news and stuff like that. That's how it goes.
Not true.
I've already seen them being like, oh well, the actors are hurting all the venues and all the vendors and stuff like that. And I'm like, of course those are gonna hurt. Although the craft service people, the caterers, the moving places, the rental houses, those are all gonna suffer. But the AMPTP could fix this.
To be fair, the craft service workers, the grips, the electric department, all of those people make shit tons more money than a background actor or a stand-in makes. Like, and even the people who are working actors but not booking all the time, they make way more than that, because those people are working on productions for 5 days a week, you know, every week for 6 months. So they all are in a better place than most people in SAG are, aside from the Angelina Jolies and the Tom Cruises and the Jennifer Anistons, and like, you know, and I'm sorry, I'm not throwing shade at anyone that I mentioned. Like, thank you, congratulations for being famous. But my point is that most of the people in SAG are not making those kind of paychecks. And like, even people that you might see and recognize, they're working, they could be working 20 days out of a year, you know, and they're making just enough to get by. So, you know, I'm sorry that a lot of people are out of work. I'm sorry. It sucks. But it mostly sucks for the people that they're really trying to fight for, you know, and this AI thing is fucking ridiculous, like, for everyone involved, you know, and it's not fair. And and also all of those other unions that I mentioned are way better at managing their money and managing, like, they like,
more
over
money
COVID,
for the actors,
didn't make people pay their dues. They didn't make people pay their medical insurance premiums.
Find you jobs.
They take care of their their members.
Yeah.
SAG doesn't do that. I hope that changes with Fran Drescher, but SAG doesn't fucking do that. You know, and WGA has a strike fund, like, that they are giving people, you know what I mean? Like, there are stipends and things, you know, they're doing things. SAG doesn't really have that, and that's unfortunate. But the fact that Fran Drescher is actually fighting for those people is amazing, and I respect and appreciate it. And I'm sorry that this is affecting all of these people, and that it's a shit show, and that it's a problem. But like, you're never ever gonna enact change unless you take a stand. And you can't just like stand by and be someone's fucking whipping post.
Yes. 100%. Change is now. Now is time to do this. And like I said, I wish it would have happened in 2020, but now is the time it's going down.
In 2020, what happened, Brian? They raised the fucking threshold economically for you to make your medical insurance when you legally couldn't work for 4 months out of the year because of COVID. They're like, you can only work for what is the math? 12 months. Not why I'm very smart at math. I can't 9, 10, 11, 12. Nope. 8 months. You can work for 8 months out of the year. I had to do my fingers. 8 months out of the year, and you need to make more than you had to make last year at 12 months of the year, because Gabrielle Cartieres can suck a fucking dick. That's
wow. Why. Ouch. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that situation. That's rough.
A lot of people lost their health insurance, and they knew it was tanking.
For the first time ever in 20 years, I had to go. I went 3 months without medical insurance before I could requalify because of that. And I've been here for 20 years and working on set for 20 years as a SAG actor. First time ever. And if to go on Cobra was $900 a month. So if we're experiencing COVID and there's no money to be had, do you think I could afford $900 to be on medical insurance for 3 months? Like 18, that's $2,400 for 3 months of medical insurance. Fuck you, eat a dick, you're a cunt. Okay? Sorry to be so harsh, but that's how I feel. Fran Drescher, I feel like is a very, very, very much better replacement and someone who is more in tune with the members and the people need and will probably act accordingly. Or at least I hope she will. Ting.
I hope she will. And I think she already is doing a lot for us. And the strike is just beginning. We'll be covering it the whole time. We'll be out there picketing. And only time will tell what happens with this. But I hope that the AMPTP steps up and does the right thing. That's all I can say. Anyways, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We got to get going way over. Appreciate you. Happy hump day. Happy hump day. Hope you had a great hump day. Hope you had a great week so far. We'll be off the rest of the week. We'll be back next week full time. Finally back. And we'll be back in the studio as normal. So thank you so much for being here. Mike Casey, thank you so much for being here as always on Kruse Control. Everybody check out Touchy Ghost. Love to have him here. Good to see you, man. Hope you had a great time. And can't think enough.
Happy humpy Kermit Climate. That's all I got to say.
Pump it up.
Great insights, Sabrina. I really enjoyed hearing some of that.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was being a little bit of a bitch.
No. I think the soapbox is totally warranted. Like, this is a situation where there's a lot of people that are being exploited and a lot of bad press a lot of mud being thrown that I don't think is warranted. So I'm happy to hear the working person's side.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's good. Thank you, Sabrina, for being here as always and giving that insight. Like Mike said, it helps everybody and it really helps spread the knowledge of like what's happening. We can keep putting the word out. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And everybody out there, appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe as always. Thank you for being here. We keep getting closer and closer to that 500. Going to be touching that nipple pretty soon here. And I can't wait for to be there because that 500 is going to be great. That's all I can say.
Why would you use that terminology?
500 is referred to as the nipple.
Is it? Is it like the silver and the wood anniversary? Is it the nipple
exactly
anniversary?
Same thing.
It's a saying, right? Isn't that a saying? I don't know if that's a saying.
Truth.
It's a saying. That's truth, yeah. But anyways, please like and subscribe. Join our Patreon if you can. And as always, everybody, tell your friends, your family, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your nephews, your uncles' nephews. Does that make sense? Your little squirrels that are cool with the leprechauns and the gnomes and me and friends and family and iguanas and stingrays because they're pretty cool unless they kill somebody. That sucks too. And dolphins because dolphins are cool, but they might hump you too. So watch that penis. And also every sea mammal that's out there. And the marsupilami. I'm just saying everything out there. Please like and subscribe. We love you so much. I can't be too loud tonight. I'm at a place somewhere I can't be. But anyways, like you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here as always on Kruse Control. Have a great night. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the rest of your hump day and have a great weekend. And as always, everybody, see ya.